Good day, students. I'm Teacher Franz, your teacher in Earth and Life Science. Do you know why dinosaurs no longer exist today? The extinction of dinosaurs and other organisms may have been caused by many different factors, which will be our topic for today.
Why some of the animals before are different from the animals we have now. Take a look at this whale, for example. While some animals may look the same, they are entirely different from each other. Let's take a look at this tiger, a leopard, a cheetah, a lion, a panther, and a jaguar. Oh, and a domestic cat. These animals may look the same, but they have distinctly different features from one another, while others may not be related with one another but have similar functional features and characteristics. So, let's find out more of these features in this today's lessons. Change over time, evolution and origin of biodiversity. So, what is biodiversity? Biodiversity is the variety of life found in a place on Earth. Biodiversity have three parts. First one, we have the species diversity. Second, we have the genetic diversity. And the last one, we have the ecosystem diversity. What is evolution? Evolution, the changes in the characteristics of a species over several generations and relies on the process of natural selection. What is natural selection? Well, according to Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, it states that the evolution happens by natural selection. And what is natural selection? Well, natural selection is the process through which populations of living organisms adapt and change. Individuals in a species show variation in physical characteristics. This variation is because of differences in the genes. Evolution. Evolution is a change in the genetic makeup, often the heritable features, of a population over time. Biologists sometimes define two types of evolution based on scale. First, we have the macroevolution. Macroevolution refers to large-scale changes that occur over extended time periods, such as the formation of new species and groups. Let's take the whale macroevolution for example. So 49 million years ago, we can see that it has four legs it uses for walking. Until 18 million years ago, it became to what we know it is right now. Next one, we have the microevolution. Microevolution refers to small-scale changes that affect just one or a few genes and happens in populations over shorter timescales. Okay, so can you tell me what you observe in the picture? Okay, so unlike in the macroevolution, wherein the whale become distinctly different from what it was before, in here, the two animals look exactly the same, and there's only one small scale of difference, and that is the webbing on their feet. The theory of evolution, or the theory of evolution by natural selection. Natural selection is sometimes summed up as survival of the fittest. So in this video, we can see zebras running for their lives. So they are being actually chased by lions. And zebras, who unfortunately doesn't have the characteristic best suited for this type of environment, meaning they might be the slowest runner, are most likely killed. So as we can see, the zebra is struggling for its life, for its dear life. This is gruesome, but this is the actual world. If you don't have the characteristic and feature to survive this type of harsh environment, you will die out. While the other zebras, who are very fast and running and was able to escape, has the potential to pass their traits to their offspring, giving them higher chances of survival. Next, let's jump off to biodiversity. So we have the reproductive isolating mechanism divided into two parts, the prezygotic isolation mechanism and the postzygotic isolation mechanism. Let's go first with the prezygotic isolation mechanism, which is further divided into 5 subtypes. So first one, we have the geographic or ecological or habitat isolation. The second one, we have the temporal or seasonal isolation. The third one, we have the behavioral isolation. Fourth one, we have the mechanical isolation. And the fifth one, we have the gametic isolation. Geographic or ecological or habitat isolation. So potential mates occupy different areas or habitats. Thus, they never come in contact. So let's have the lion and tiger, for example. Now, lions and tigers can potentially interbreed, but they usually occupy different habitats. Thus, it never happened. Next one, temporal or seasonal isolation. Now, different groups may not be reproductively mature at the same season, or month, or year. So let's look at these two frogs. So the first frog is active in the summer, while the other one is active in the spring. So frogs live in the same pond, but they breed during different seasons. Therefore, they can't breed. Next, we have the behavioral isolation. So patterns of courtship are different. Now, this behavioral isolation happens or occurs when two species have different courtship behaviors. Now, certain groups of birds will only respond to species-specific mating calls. Next one, we have the mechanical isolation. Differences in the reproductive organs prevent successful interbreeding. Now, in the mechanical, it occurs when physical differences prevent copulation or pollination. Now, certain breeds of dogs are morphologically incapable of mating due to size, just like these two dogs. Finally, we have the gametic isolation. So gametic isolation is the incompatibilities between egg and sperm prevent fertilization. Next, after the prezygotic isolation mechanism, let's go to the postzygotic isolation mechanism. So in here, it is further subdivided into 3 types. First one, we have the hybrid inviability. Second one, we have the hybrid sterility. And the third one, we have the hybrid breakdown. So hybrid inviability, fertilized egg fails to develop past the early embryonic stages. An example of this is the hybrid of sheep and goat. So they can actually mate, but the resulting embryo will never survive. Next, we have the hybrid sterility. So, hybrids are sterile because gonads develop abnormally or there is abnormal segregation of chromosomes during meiosis. Now, we have here a horse and a donkey. Now, hybrids fail to produce functional gametes, that's why they are sterile. Now, the resulting hybrid for a crossbreed for donkey and horse is a mule. And mules are sterile hybrids resulting from mating between the horse and a donkey. So, hybrid is sterility. It can produce an offspring, but the offspring cannot reproduce its own kind. Hybrid breakdown. So, the first filial generation hybrids are normal, vigorous, and viable. But the second filial generation contains many weak or sterile individuals, so they just die out. An example of this is the Nasonia girauti. So they don't really survive. And next one, we have the mode of speciation. First, we have the allopatric speciation or the geographic speciation. Second one, we have the sympatric speciation, and the last one, we have the parapatric speciation. So first one, allopatric speciation or geographic speciation. It occurs when some members of a population become geographically separated from the other members, thereby preventing gene flow. Examples of geographic barriers are bodies of water and mountain ranges. So in here you can see the allopatric. Allo means other and patric means place. So literally speaking, it means other places. So in here there's a formed barrier that separated species of its own kind, giving rise to a new unique type of species. Next one, we have the sympatric speciation. This occurs when members of a population that initially occupy the same habitat within the same range diverge into two or more different species. It involves abrupt genetic change that quickly lead to the reproductive isolation of a group of individuals. Example is change in chromosome number or the polyploidization. So sim meaning same and patric meaning place, so literally meaning same place. So in the sympatric, there is a polymorphism occur within the population. So it created a new, or it gave rise to a new species. Next one, we have the parapatric speciation. This occurs when the groups that evolve to be separated species are geographic neighbors. Gene flow occur, but with great distances is reduced. There is also abrupt change in the environment over a geographic border, and strong disruptive selection must also happen. So para meaning beside and patric place, so meaning beside each other. So as we can see in the illustration, in the parapatric, there's a new niche entered, and it gave rise to new species. So activity time. So you just have to simply identify whether the picture is allopatric, sympatric, or parapatric. So let's start. So can you identify whether this is a allopatric, sympatric, or parapatric? And the correct answer is parapatric. Did you get the correct answer? Next one. How about this one? Can you identify whether this is allopatric, sympatric, or parapatric? Good job! Okay, now the last one. An uncontaminated soil and mine waste. Wow, very good. That is asympatric. So for our reflection, humans have only one species, but as time goes by, its human population become more and more diverse. It is like plants and animals around us having different colors and sizes. We have Asians, Americans, Africans, Europeans. They are physically different. However, no matter how diverse the human population has become, humans still remain as one species, as long as the members continue to interbreed successfully and share a common gene pool. Present-day species evolved from earlier species, and that the relatedness of organisms is the result of a common ancestry. Reproductive isolation can prevent gene flow. It can split interbreeding populations into genetically distinct species. So that's it. That's all for today. For any questions, you can always send a message on my Facebook account. And now, as we end our lesson for today, I hope you've learned something. Goodbye!